Hey, I'm Andrew, your crypto guy on the internet, and we have some big stories in the news today. Ethereum 2.0 gets delayed, Elon's trying to buy Twitter outright, Putin says the N-word, and apparently people who own Bitcoin are psychopaths. So let's commentate on all those things. First, let's talk Ethereum. Ethereum was supposed to go live with their proof-of-stake conversion by June. And even after all of their testing has gone smoothly, they came out and went, well, we think maybe this little sign here, maybe quarter three, quarter four. Now, this was supposed to be done 2 years ago, okay? And I think it's time that we get somebody with slick hair, a sharkskin suit, and a nice watch to go in there and start yelling at everybody. I need a Glenn Ross scene at the Ethereum office where he just leans up to Vitalik and goes, "What are you doing? Third prize is you're fired. If you don't like it, leave." That's what we need to happen, okay? If you haven't seen Glenn Ross and you're in sales of any kind, you need to watch that movie. It's how sales used to be, okay? No mercy. You take the money or you get out, all right? That's what needs to happen there. Now, I could understand wanting to take things slow. Make sure you get it right, okay? Now, first, we have a fat lead over here. Let's figure this. Let's look at these numbers here. Ethereum is still way ahead of its competition. But there's news of Luna and Avalanche teaming up, and now Luna, Avalanche, and Polkadot are working together. You got the three hungry new guys all trying to take out the fat dude who's taking it easy. He's not going to stay on top for much longer if it stays like this, okay? Now, 2 years ago, sure, take it easy. You have a big lead. We want to make sure this is right. But, 2 years of delays, and now we're quarter three, quarter four, maybe, and then we still have to do the sharding and all the scaling, and it's like the end of next year that we're caught up. It's just, do you need me to hire some Japanese guys? The Japanese show up. They don't leave the office until the project is done. Or maybe we hire some Indians and they type this stuff out faster. What do you want, Vitalik? You tell me. But right now, if you don't like it, leave or you're fired. Hurry up. Like, he needs to get yelled at. I don't know what's going on. I know things are different now, but we need a hard ass in there to make a hard correction, get us back on course. It's taken way too long, okay? Now, next story, and this is really top of the charts. Elon is trying to buy out Twitter himself. Now, remember, the other day, he bought 9% of the company. Now, here was Twitter stock going into this. Bleeding out, okay? They're losing money. Not looking good for Twitter. And then Elon shows up, buys 9% of the company himself, and it explodes in price, up to $54. We thought he was going to join the board and maybe make some changes, right? Well, he decided not to join the board, and everybody went, oh, it was a fake out. No, the point of that, the reason why he didn't join the board is because when you're on the board, you can't buy any more of the company. So he goes, why don't I stay off the board and just buy out the whole company? And so that's what he's proposing. He comes out with a ridiculously fair offer. $43 billion for all of Twitter. $54 per share, and he buys all the shares. That's what he's presenting. Now, in any other scenario, any other merger or company acquisition, if you're worth $30 and some guy shows up and he goes, I'll give you $54 for every share of the company, you take that deal before he changes his mind. You take it immediately, okay? But Twitter is a woke company, okay? And they believe in some censorship. They want to control speech, okay? And Elon is the opposite. He sees Twitter as a public square, a place you go and you say what you want, let the good ideas sink or swim on their own merit, okay? Free speech to a T. And even without the woke debate back and forth, Twitter isn't really operated that well. I think users of Twitter have better ideas than the people who actually run Twitter. Elon, for instance, he buys 9% of the company. That day, he comes out with a poll and goes, hey, everybody, do you want an edit button so you can edit your tweet? Would that be cool? And everyone goes, yeah. And so now they're trying to implement it that fast. Or he goes, hey, this is just an idea. I'm going to put out a poll, people, Elon says. Not that you'd have to. But if you could pay $3 a month and you don't see any more ads or spam, would that be something you're interested in? And people go, yeah. And there's another idea. He's only been at it for a few days and he's already in tune with everybody, okay? He asked the public, what do you feel like doing with this? And it's direct communication. The current CEO of Twitter pops up like once a month, if that, and he just says what a prepared statement and disappears again. I feel like Elon would be good for Twitter because he would do what the people on Twitter actually want. And if you're a shareholder, that's really good news. The shares go up. Unless he goes full private, it's just a buyout and it's gone. Everybody gets paid and it's over, and now it's this free thing. Now, Elon is not the current largest stakeholder anymore. Vanguard is. They increased their stake to, I think, like 10% or so. So they're a little above Elon. But Vanguard doesn't care about politics. I think they were just jumping in to try to capitalize on this potential buyout, which is a smart move, okay? And I've also been doing something similar. For the first time ever, I actually purchased some Dogecoin. Not because it's useful, it isn't. Doge is useless, but Elon said that, hey, if I control Twitter, I'm going to implement Doge. And he would use Doge as like a tipping mechanism for people on there. So let's say someone jumps on Twitter and says, hey, my kid's got cancer, I'm stuck, I need money. You could donate to them using Doge. It's a really cool thing in this public square approach, right? So I went, all right, I'm going to get some Doge here at 14 cents. And if this buyout happens, Doge is going to jump on that initial hype. And then I'll capitalize on a moment and sell off. Buy the rumor, sell the news, right? And if it doesn't happen, whatever, if Doge hits 15 cents, I'll sell it, I'm out, I don't care. But I thought that was worth looking into as a speculation. Third story, Putin says the N-word. Not Nutella, not the other one, but nuclear, the scary one. So he goes, Russia threatens new nuclear deployments if Sweden and Finland join NATO. Now, does that mean we're going into nuclear war? Is this something new? Not really. But right here, these are notoriously neutral nations. Finland and Sweden, okay? But if they were to join NATO, they become green on this map. And Russia sees that, hey, the enemy's at my doorstep. I need to puff out my chest and say, I'm going to move my nukes up north. Now, he already has nuclear weapons in the vicinity, okay? If he moves them up north a little bit, that's like nuking Tempe versus Scottsdale. Everybody's still in trouble. This is really just, like I said, puffing out his chest and trying to deter any more encroachment on him. Really, if you want to stop Putin, you shut the money off completely. He's already really struggling, but some people are still buying oil from him. If we stop that immediately, he literally runs out of money and can't pay people to fight for him anymore, and that's the end. That's really the move. No, I don't know if they're actually going to join NATO. I feel like you don't have to at this point. Just turn the money off and this thing will settle down, okay? Now, the fear and greed is still very fearful, so we're still kind of in a juicy opportunity for buying. Now, to look at Bitcoin in general, you know, we're still in the same area we were. Now, I think yesterday we did jump to about 41.3. Some people got hopeful. But I went, nah, we're still in the thick of it, okay? Nothing majorly positive or negative has occurred enough to change things. And I see a lot of YouTubers saying that, hey, we're going to 10K still. And I don't think they understand how difficult it is to move Bitcoin that much now. Now, earlier, we've had 80% drops in the past, way back when, okay? But Bitcoin is different now. Back then, Bitcoin was just nerds in the basement, some dark web people, like nerds like me, right? And so if one whale made a move, the whole thing changed. It's not like that anymore. It's not a speedboat that can change direction that fast. Bitcoin is $760 billion. So if you want to move that amount of money, it takes a lot of effort. It's like an ocean liner, the Titanic. To turn the Titanic 80% left or right takes a long time and some serious effort. So I don't know about that. I don't think things are going to drop that hard. I mean, we went over it in the last video. Every major whale would have to sell off at once. The miners would have to sell off at once. And that's asking a lot, okay? And I don't know if that's going to happen, especially with crypto regulation on the table. And then we're talking about Bitcoin ETFs, which would bring in serious money. And now it's not 760 billion, we're talking trillions now, multiple trillions of dollars. And this is definitely not able to drop 80% at that point. It's just way too much people, way too much money involved with that situation. But on to the next story. Bitcoin fans are psychopaths who don't care about anyone, according to the New York Post. That's true. That's fair. That's fair. I'm definitely sure. Okay, so why do you invest in Bitcoin? You invest in Bitcoin in a Machiavellian sense, in that you invest in Bitcoin because you're betting that the government will be corrupt. That's like betting that water will be wet. Of course it is. It's a no-brainer. Put some Bitcoin in your portfolio, okay? We know things are corrupt. It was created in response, Bitcoin was created in response to the financial collapse of 2008. Some guys got together and went, hang on a minute, okay? We need to be able to control our finances. Okay, this fiat currency stuff is manipulated too easily by these bankers and these governments. It's all a scam. We need to protect ourselves. So they created an alternative that cannot be controlled by any CEO or any politician or king. It's completely decentralized, and that's why Bitcoin is here to stay. Too many people are adopting it, mostly because they don't trust those in power, and that will never change. And then there are some other things that are basically traits of any typical investor, like you think for yourself, okay, you're kind of a dick. You look at a good investor, like we said many times on this channel, has no emotions. Now they do in real life, but when you're looking at numbers, you have to think only logically, and that's how you capitalize on moments. So like if World War III starts, you buy Lockheed Martin and Boeing. And that doesn't mean you're pro World War III. You just go, look, this is what's happening. I should make money. So you move your money depending on what's going on in the world. You have to do that with no emotion or sentiment. You have to be able to see people terrified and go, this is good. You have to be kind of a psycho. And if that's the case, then call me Norman Bates. All right? I totally understand that I'm a psychopath, and I'm fine with it. So what are we looking at for Bitcoin coming up? We still have, this positive trend a little bit. The bottom is still around the same at like 37, 38. Some people are arguing that we're looking at a bearish flag that could capitulate to the downside. I think, not this week, but like the next week or two, we're going to revisit 44.4. And people are going to get really hyped up and excited. But then we're going to get fucked and sent all the way back down to where we are now or lower, like 38, 38.5. And even all of that is still boring, okay? Nothing's going to the top, nothing's going to the bottom. I feel like we're just coasting along in this zone for a while, and we have to wait and see what happens. So good luck out there. We'll see what happens with Twitter, hopefully pretty soon.